All right, everybody, Friday the 13th. Nice rally in stocks, as I called it last week when I put out that video. You got to buy fear. You got to buy fear. Everybody thinks there's going to be some kind of economic collapse. There's all this hand wringing and crying over the trade war, and you have all these hotshots on Wall Street scratching their heads looking at the market. How come it isn't crashing? How come it isn't crashing? There's a trade war. There's a flat yield curve. There's this. There's that. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. I told you to buy fear. I said this is a stimulus. This is not the beginning of a major downturn. And I will add to this that the whole entire sell-off we have seen in commodities, maybe with the exception of a few commodities like soybeans, which has been targeted. It's going to take a while to build back markets for soybean exports. However, the whole rest of the picture is not bearish. Or if it is bearish, it's just in a very, very tiny sense. You're talking about a small percentage increase on tariffs in a relatively small magnitude of goods, particularly if you look at the amount of goods being where tariffs are being imposed to the overall size of the economy and commerce. That's number one. Number two, fiscal stimulus in the United States is huge this year. We are running at record levels. This will surpass the 2009 stimulus year by a lot. All right? And the other thing I've been talking about, you have a re-acceleration in bank credit, in lending, in loans and leases. That has been absent for the last, 17 months. So we're starting to see a pickup in that now. And that's another thing that I predicted. Go back and watch the videos on the bank deregulation bill that was signed by President Trump on May 24th. Leading up to that, I had been saying that if we get that bank deregulation, it's going to have a very significant impact on the ability of banks, particularly mid-sized and small banks, to lend. And I was all over this in the MMT Trader Report. So everything is on schedule. Dollar had a reversal today. It looks like maybe it could even be a weekly reversal. For those of you who love to look at charts, I don't need to look at charts because policy is my guide, all right? And I don't get scared and I don't get nervous. It's another thing. So many of you are scared and frightened and nervous. Grow a pair. Come on. You're scared and you're frightened and you're nervous and you quit. You know what I tell my kids? Success, life is very simple. Don't quit. Losers are quitters. And the thing about quitters is most of the time they will have some excuse, some reason why they quit. They will never blame themselves for quitting for lack of fortitude, lack of resilience, lack of ability to stick it out and go with it and fight through the adversity and the struggle and the discomfort, because that's all it boils down to, is fighting through the discomfort. How many times have I said on this channel and elsewhere in my writings, this is an easy game. I don't even need to know anything about MMT. I don't need to know anything about economics. I spoke about the guys yesterday in the video that I made who were floor traders at the time when I was a floor trader. You had all the big Wall Street firms employing spotters who stood in the pit just to relay upstairs to the upstairs traders what those guys were doing. None of those guys knew anything about economics. They never even looked at a chart. But one thing they had mental game. And a big part of mental game. Now there are facets to mental game. I have a system called PADD, P-A-D-D-T, which is patience, alignment, detachment, discipline, and trust. If you have taken any of my courses, especially I should say the Forex course, the video course, I go all into that: patience, alignment, detachment, discipline, trust. Okay. But a big factor in that mental game is that ability to handle discomfort. People quit. You guys quit. I know every single one. And I can tell you you're gonna go on to lack of success, You come in here, you think you're going to be a trader, you're all psyched up, you say, oh, MMT, it sounds so wonderful. Mike talks about MMT. It's the concise and proper understanding of the functioning of the monetary system. That's all I needed to know, and now, boom, I'm gonna be a successful trader. No, you're not. I mean, it's good to have knowledge and understanding of MMT. It's good to broaden your knowledge, to expand your understanding of things and how things work. That just makes you a more interesting person, a deeper person, a person with higher capabilities. However, if you don't have the mental aspect to go with that, then really that information is not going to be of any use to you, especially in an activity like trading, which can be very, very stressful and often is. Now, I've spoken about people who have come to me who I thought, boy, this guy's never going to make it. He's going to cancel out and quit right away. And those people, it's interesting, those people end up to be the ones who stick with it. And then I have others who come to me with lots of bravado and, yeah, I'm a tough guy and I can handle hardship and stress and difficulty. And no, they bow out and they're like, man, you got to use stop losses. I'm going to find another system. Your system's no good. They're looking for the system fairy. They're looking for the system fairy, but the system fairy doesn't exist. They're going to keep looking and looking and looking. Some of them, there's one or two honest ones who say, Mike, you know what? I just realized this is not for me, because really what they're saying when they say that is, and it's not spoken in this way, but what they're saying is, I do not want to work on myself to be able to handle the discomfort. I do not want to toughen up mentally. That's equivalent to, let's say I take a guy to the gym with me. By the way, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, every single morning, 7 days a week. And either I go to the gym and work out, or I run, or I do some kind of physical exercise every single day. Now, that would be the equivalent. Let's say I took somebody to the gym. Let's say, oh, look at Mike. He's 61 years old. He's in incredible shape. He runs marathons. He works out. I want to be like him, right? That would be the MMT part. And then they come in. I say, okay, we got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You got to go to the gym with me every day. We got to do our workouts. And, you know, on Fridays we run, still 4 o'clock in the morning. And they start off doing it, and the discomfort builds, the discomfort builds, the discomfort builds. They don't like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they say, nah, I'm going to that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. But they say it in a way like, oh, you know, something came up. There's something came up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, Mike. Sorry, I can't do it. Some of them are honest, and they say, you know what? I don't want to do it. I can't do this. But that's the sad part. I mean, you could say you don't want to handle it anymore, or you can't handle it anymore when it comes to the discomfort of trading. But you know what? That inability to face adversity and rise above it, and the inability to face discomfort, to deal with discomfort, that just flows over into everyday life. I mean, you know, we don't have to be talking about trading here. We could be talking about anything. That's a loser's mentality. That is not a warrior's mentality. That is not a winner's mentality. Folks, I don't know how more plain I can say this, but this is a very easy game if you are willing to work on your mental game. And by far the greatest aspect of that is just being able to handle discomfort. Some people are able to do it. I don't know what makes that in a particular person. I know I've developed that over time. I was not like that. I have to tell you, I was not born like that. I developed that trait. It helps to, I mean, you should watch some of these motivational videos, especially guys like David Goggins. Go look him up on YouTube. He's an ultra marathoner. He's a former Navy SEAL. He does these ultra marathons, 150 miles, 300 miles in the desert in Death Valley. He came up from a broken home. Father was gone, drunk, bad neighborhood, getting beat up. He was out of shape. He was fat. Ended up going into the Navy SEALs, said, how am I going to change my life around? How am I going to change my life around? Because if not, I'll either be in jail or I'll be dead. And he came up with the idea of doing the hardest thing he could possibly do, putting himself through that, making himself go through that. joined the Navy SEALs. He was also an Army Ranger. Go watch David Goggins, Goggins, on YouTube. Then come back if you want to be a trader. Quitters are never going to make it, and there's no system fairy. I hate to tell you that. There is no system fairy. And everybody can do this. Everybody can do this. 100%, I am telling you that this is not outside the reach of anyone, but it's a question of, do you have the resilience? Do you have the grit? Do you have the fortitude? Can you push yourself through? It's great making money. I said before, I don't even like it when my positions are going my way. I hate that. That makes me nervous. When they're not going my way, I eat it up. I love that. I love that. It's been 4 or 5 months now. I've been short the dollar. That's going to be a huge score. I've been selling rallies every time that dollar index gets up around 95, selling rally, selling rally, selling rally. We'll see. We'll come back to this. It's going to be a huge score. I'm making money. I will be. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't quit. Really, don't quit. That's a loser's mentality. That is weak. That is such a loser's mentality. People, you're so scared. You are so scared. Frightened of what? You're alive. You wake up every day. You have life. That's the greatest gift of all. Don't be scared and don't quit. Bye.